Mitchell Porter Leach podcast, and we're back. You already know, pro wrestling conversation, and I'm joined with
Darryl Silverstein
and
Luke Michael Howard.
my brothers. How's it going?
It's going well, man.
Yeah.
Any better, that you'd have to kill me.
Oh Lord, that's how we're starting. Okay,
I'm
cool.
doing great. Can't complain.
I feel like I gotta get off one of these lights and drop an elbow drop on this guy
Oh,
here.
jeez.
That'd be beautiful.
You know, coming here with CM Punk merchandise already.
The voice of the voiceless.
You think your boy is gonna beat my guy?
So, if I was booking this WrestleMania main event, everyone's going into this thinking Roman's going to win, even me. But ticket sales are down. When WWE are desperate, what do? They smash the emergency glass. In the old days, it was Hulk Hogan. Can't get him back anymore. There's one man, The Rock. Now, Rock's broken my heart last couple of years, but that time he did come back for that tag match. That setup was the most exciting wrestling's been in decades, for me at least, and ticket prices have shown that. So get this is my booking. Roman loses because Punk turns heel at WrestleMania. Punk or Cody has to turn heel this year. Both of them is too much. Punk turns heel. How does he turn heel? Because Rock comes down, costs Roman the title to set up WrestleMania main event in Saudi next year. Night 2, finally, Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania. We set it up this year. Babyface Roman, heel Rock. That's how I do it. That excites me.
I still don't think it sells tickets this year. I still think they got a problem this year. I think there's a big hole this year that they have to fill. Now, granted, with where we are right now and when this is going to be released, there is always time. Usually people are buying tickets. But last year they were buying it on John Cena's retirement tour. I think the WWE's got a little bit of a hole to dig themselves out of. I mean, financially, they're doing well. They've got all these pre-bought events, Saudi's buying events, but back-to-back years in Las Vegas is going to be tough. And I think that they are going to commit to the booking that they have. But if you think about it, it's inexpensive on ESPN to sit and watch it at home. Why fly to Vegas and do what Vegas does and how expensive Vegas is? It's going to be tough. So I think I'm with you, Rory. I hate to say it, but I think that Roman doesn't lose 2 years in a row or 3 years in a row.
It'd be 3 years in a row.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah. I hear you with bringing back Rock, but I don't think we need a year build for Rock and Roman.
Think about the last time we had that year build is when we had Cena and The Rock, and we had great TV then.
Yes.
I think WrestleMania this year is in the shitter either way. They'll make money. Expectations were high last year and it sucked. Mainly the main event was horrible. It's like a movie. The movie can be crap in the middle, but if it has a good ending and a good start, it was a good movie. So WrestleMania, it could be saved. The main event's probably going to be a lot more fun than the Cody Cena match. But if we set up next year, another prediction, next year, between this WrestleMania and next WrestleMania next year, it's going to be sold to Saudi. And either they announce it this year or next year at WrestleMania that it's been sold.
So you're thinking that sold out or sold like
sold to Saudi, Saudi.
Saudi is going to have WrestleMania?
Will own WWE next year.
Oh, just in general.
Oh, wow.
General.
That's a hot take.
That is a hot take.
That's a very, very big hot take.
I mean, I don't not see something that big happening, but I think for me, and this is a complete other direction, but I don't think Triple H is going to be your booker and creative guy by the end of 2026.
Well, this is just leading up into our groundbreaking conversation we're about to have today.
Yeah, I just think that if you look at what's happened, the booking is decent. It's good. It's better than it's been in a decade. I'm pleased with it, but I really feel that he just hasn't really created that much. He did a really great job with NXT. I think that was beautiful, but he took independent guys that had a name and he was leveraging them. And if we're looking at what he's currently doing, he hasn't really built too many stars. And if we're looking at the ticket prices, I think he's caught in a catch-22. He's caught in he wants to grow the business, which is great, which is what we want. He's also caught with the financials of what TKO wants to do, and they're selling and how they're selling the company. So they're making their money regardless, but are they making the fans happy? And if they're not selling tickets at the high prices, their most creative guy is he the first to go?
Within 2 years, maybe within a year, No more Triple H, head of creative. Heyman will be head of creative. He'll
Wow, that's
outlast
another hot take.
everyone.
That's coming over nuclear
Oh,
warheads.
yeah. I'm bringing the guns.
Holy. So what we're really showcasing is talking about the current product.
Yeah,
right now
absolutely.
And the development. And we've have years and bodies of memories of wrestling. Where do you think wrestling has gone wrong as far as development versus more money hand over fist, if that makes sense?
Although he had a lot of issues, Vince's mentality was we need families to be coming to this, and high rollers as well, but it's built for families. And yet WrestleMania tickets are always going to cost a bit more because it's WrestleMania, it's the Super Bowl of wrestling. Or is the Super Bowl the WrestleMania of football? But
You can say that however you want to say it.
Yeah.
But Vince wouldn't price out families. Vince did a lot of wrong things as a maniac, but he didn't price out families. Now it's the money gouge, every dollar. And this is business, I get it. But like, even a crappy ticket at the back of the stadium in Vegas is what?
$300 American.
Is I thought it was $7, but is it free?
I think the package is $7.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
At the back of the stadium. Whereas what AEW, when they had the big all out shows, it was like $30, right, to get in for an 80,000 arena. Or stadium, I should say. They're making hand over fist more money, at least WWE, than they've ever made. Creative is horrible. I don't even watch the product. I know what's going on. I'm reading about this stuff every day. But for me to actually sit down and watch it is hard because there is no great story. I'm a big CM Punk guy, of course. But even this storyline is, I know what's going on, but it don't captivate me. Even the Royal Rumble supposed to bring up excitement, not excited. This Who's in the Box is exciting for me. I hope it's Jericho. I love Danhausen, he's fun, but it'd be a little bit of a letdown. We need Jericho. Jericho ain't going to sell really any tickets for WrestleMania, but I'd like Jericho to come back. Creatively, horrible. Financially, fantastic.
I've got a few points on it. First, I think if we look at how we're all consuming information and how we're really consuming video and content in 2026, WWE is more, and AEW, they're more of content builders than they are, I think, pro wrestling companies. So I think that sitting down and watching 3 hours of Raw or SmackDown or AEW or MLW or whatever independent you want to watch on YouTube, on Paramount, on however you consume it, it's a lot. And I feel that a lot of people, the older generation, the newer generation, we're just going on our phones or we're going on our TVs watching that 12-minute clip of what the show was like, and that's how we're consuming it. That's a problem because it's so easy to love the sport and not have to buy a ticket, especially if they're not really doing anything to really go. That nothing's changed inside the arena. Like they used to have every pay-per-view was a different set. Now there's no set. So what's the ambiance, right? That worries me. On the athletic side, my fear is that there's not enough house shows. And if they're not building stars the way that they used to me, it waters down the town. So I'll go all the way back. We used to work the independent scene, and you have to build yourself on the independent scene and get your reps in and keep getting your reps in and work for $25 and have those shitty, crappy matches over and over and over again until you got noticed. And this is pre-social media. And then you would go to Japan and you'd build yourself up. And by the time you kind of got to the big show, you may have had 1,000 matches under, or maybe 500-600 matches under. Now there's the WWE ID and their programs, and you're getting great talent that are athletic, but then they're getting just a couple of matches. And if you're not going to understand how to work a crowd, and like that is now affecting when you go to the arena to watch a show. I want to cheer for the good guy and boo for the bad guy, but sometimes the talent doesn't have that. Or we're watching and we're going, oh, that person's got terrible facials. We should never be saying that. We shouldn't be critical on a product that we love, but I think it's the reps. And I think that does hurt the overall dollar. So as a business person, is it easier for me to just sell my WrestleMania to Saudi? Absolutely. Or sell it to a state and have them bid for it? Of course, money's coming in. My shareholders are happy. But I think the best thing that has ever happened to wrestling was WCW and AEW, because look at what it's doing to push the main guys. So I think that if you go in that little trifecta, I think that they got to get the reps in. And I think that the way that we're consuming the content now is much different than ever before.
There's a lot there. Holy damn. I think WWE goes in waves.
Absolutely.
And I think the wave that we're in right now is kind of downward because we've just exited out of the bloodline era with Roman, going over as a heel. Now he's a face. But you had a special thing that was going on with that. You brought in Cody. I still will say WrestleMania 40 shouldn't have pinned Roman personally.
Absolutely.
Right? But you have Cody where it elevated Cody, but I don't think Cody needed that shoulder rub. To now where the product is everyone's against Cody. Everybody's saying about heel turn Cody or potentially heel turn Punk. But now it looks at it where we have these old guys that are in position, the part-time wrestlers, right? And they bring that aura, that allure, but we don't have the young guys building that allure also as well. So do y'all think that we need to take more chances on the young up-and-coming talent, like who's out there, your Tricks.
Yeah.
You can throw Gunther in there. I'm just going to say he's newer, right? Tricks, Gunther, Damian Priest, those names there. I'm just going to throw those out. You think they should be more elevated right now?
Yeah, but you can only elevate one guy or woman to the top at a time. Do you remember when WCW did the New Blood Rising, where they flipped everything? They got all the guys that the internet darlings loved, and they wanted them to be pushed, but they're pushing 10 guys at once, and it was too much. But if you get one guy, one girl, and you like a Bron Breakker, and you strap, doesn't mean you can't start to slowly elevate the other talent, but you choose one guy or girl, and you're like, this is the guy, this is the girl, and you strap the rocket to them, you'll win. Like, for example, whoever Vince chose to be, of course it was his company, but whoever he chose to get over would get over. Drew McIntyre didn't get over the first time. He went away for a few years, got beefed up, got a different looked really good, came back, and eventually got over. He beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. The only person that Vince got behind fully, and he wanted him to be the star, that didn't get over, and there's still time, is Austin Theory. Because I heard someone describe Austin Theory yesterday as a cross between Randy Orton and The Miz. Which is odd, but Vince chose him to be the next guy, and he's not there.
I heard comparisons with him and John Cena, though. There's some folks that were saying that Austin Theory could have been like John Cena a little bit.
I don't see that.
But I don't think it's Austin Theory. I don't know. I think it's come and went. That's my personal opinion. You know what I mean? He's got the look, but I think what you need is you have to have the total package. So I'll give you an example. Folks are now saying that Trix Williams, if you give him a better moveset, that's a modern day Rock. He's got it. He's over. Like the segment SmackDown, him and Sammy, the fans are on his side.
Yep.
So it's like, is WWE creative listening to this right now? And when do you pull that trigger?
I don't know why they're just waiting. I don't understand. He's got everything. He's so marketable. He's so talented. He can speak on the mic. I think he's got the moveset. I think he's got the look. He's always creative, coming up with new gear. I think that he should be pushed to the main card. And there's nothing to worry about. Like, I think that there's such a worry with creative that there's this upper tier and then there's mid tier. Like, there is a actual distinguished higher tier, middle tier, and lower tier for the first time in a long time in WWE. And that bothers me because what it means is, as I consumed, I'm just not going to watch a mid-level guy because they're booking him as a mid-level guy. Trick is a future star and a future world champion. Same with Braun, but they're not being treated like they should be. There's such an opportunity for Trick. Oba, I mean, there's a guy that had instant material to be pushed right to the top. There's no reason why that guy should be doing comedy segments on a Friday night. It bothered me when I saw that.
Because that just means that there's an oversaturation with the talent. But go ahead, please.
They still haven't pulled the trigger on Bron Breakker.
Well, Braun's hurt right now, too.
I know, but he could have beat Punk at the beginning of the year. Was it Saturday night's main event or the Raw? We forget Bron Breakker's been in NXT for 5 years. They've known for 5 years this is going to be our next guy. He's been on the main roster, I want to say 2 years. it's time. You know, I'm a big Punk guy, but it's time. They could have pulled the trigger. He was supposed to be the next heir apparent. He has this lineage behind him, this moveset. His pro mobility is getting better, and they still haven't pulled the trigger on him. So if they haven't pulled the trigger on him, forget about everyone else.
That's what I'm going into.
It's safety.
It's creative, and why not flick the switch? Try something new.
They don't want to risk it.
It's a risk.
They're getting so much money now, and they're playing the safe game, right? That I think the mentality is we're making money hand over fist. That if we risk it with something that might not work, maybe we lose money. And we're making a lot of money, but creative is down. They're in that safety mindset.
But it's guys like us that have the ability to use platforms,
Yep.
podcasts, doesn't matter how big or small they are, to really speak about this, because I think creative does listen to what they see on social media.
Absolutely, they do.
And I think that you saw that with when the whole Cody got booted out of the main event when it's supposed to be Rock and Roman.
Mm-hmm.
But, we want to bring the Cody crybabies in.
Yeah.
And that worked. Now you're in a position, because you've burnt us out with Cody for the last 2.5 years, to where it's like, I love Drew. I love the getup where he's at right now. But now it's like they're making Drew to look kind of this, not a vibrant champion, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
He's always interjecting with all these other guys, but he hasn't solidified himself.
But I like that he's the bully, that he's trying to start shit with everybody. And I think that's super creative. And the way that he's using social media is unlike anybody. He's using his gimmick in social media. So he's like living the gimmick. And I really appreciate that. I think that's very creative of him. What bothers me is how Cody is being pushed, and it's almost like Roman being pushed in the mid to end of the 2000s.
Agree.
2010 rather.
Agree.
When he was being pushed, and we were saying to ourselves, this is too much. He is the chosen guy. We don't like this. We're going to rebel. And Vince was trying to make him our guy until COVID happened, and then they did the switch. And it was organically we got behind him. It's because it felt normal. But now with Cody just being this vanilla baby face, it's 2026. There's always going to be a spot for the vanilla baby face for the kids, and he will be that. But I think he's watering down his gimmick to do that. Captain Cody, Captain Rhodes, QB1, too much. It's too much.
QB1, and we already know who it is. It's the guy that's over.
The guy who's got the Jordan contract.
Right?
It's Roman.
It's Roman.
Yeah.
It's Roman. As much as people love him and hate him and he's not there, I have my reservations of why he's not there. Yes, it could be Hollywood, but you also have to keep in mind, like, the guy has leukemia. So you have to look at it from a lot of perspectives. He's on that limited schedule for a reason.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do. You know what I mean? And I think that's where folks are, like, maybe losing the vision. So if you give him the title, yes, maybe Braun comes back after the 6th month, takes it off of him. I think Braun right now, and this is our early prediction, I think that's your slot for Money in the Bank. I think that's what they're going to possibly do.
Ooh, that's crazy.
I think they're going to do Braun at Money in the Bank because coming off a hernia, who knows, by the time he has to start taking bumps again, he's not going to be back till like early summer, I think. You know?
We're going to have to replay this.
We will.
Because I want to see if your prediction comes true. Because I think Gunther will be the guy for Money in the Bank.
Really?
Yeah.
Gunther for Money in the Bank?
Yes. Yeah, I think it sets up so many different angles for him.
Interesting.
He can cash in. He could retire Mysterio. He could retire Lesnar, and then he can take the championship.
Interesting. You got Gunther for Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Money in the Bank is not until I think September.
Yeah,
now.
it's a long time away.
Damn. Since we're throwing out these predictions early, what you got to come with one here?
Money in the Bank. I don't see Gunther winning Money in the Bank. I think this gimmick of retiring people is the. We've got AJ to talk about later on. What's going to happen tomorrow with AJ, right? But I think this gimmick of retiring people don't, because Money in the Bank is a gimmick, right? Having a suit. Can you imagine suit? I can't really envision Gunther walking around with that case. And I think the gimmick of retiring legends is bigger, like the streak is bigger than the title. So maybe LA Knight, early prediction, but LA Knight is the stop pushing. We're going to get behind someone and then we're a little scared. Maybe we don't want to put him over the edge there. And time's running out for LA Knight to get over. There's been talk, and I don't see this happening, LA Knight against Brock at WrestleMania. I don't see it happening, and I don't see Brock putting over LA Knight either.
No,
that's a bold statement because they're trying to allure that by the time this comes out, it's gonna be around Elimination Chamber weekend.
Yeah.
So they're saying that they're wanting to do where Brock's gonna insert himself into the chamber, all this other stuff. I won't be able to see the chamber.
He's amazing in the chamber.
Night 1 main event, Cody against Drew. This is not a WrestleMania main event.
No.
Could Night 1 be anything else for the main event? What do we think the Night 1 main event?
I don't think you have anything else in the current product right now.
Because this is not. They've already done it recently.
You don't have anything. It's probably going to be Drew Night 1. If it's Drew and Cody, I'm probably skipping WrestleMania Night 1.
Could Drew lose the title between now and WrestleMania?
Absolutely.
I don't see how you get there.
It's possible.
I don't see how you get there.
I would love to see. So going back to content, I think that every Raw, SmackDown is treated like a pay-per-view PLE because it's on Netflix. They have to impress the Netflix audience. So a title change on Netflix, I don't know if we've had a major title change on Netflix yet. That would be something.
Not that I remember.
Right.
No.
That would be something. So it also leads the viewer to go, you know what, if you want to, it's not just automatic where the champion's going to retain every Monday night or every Friday. Watch it. Perhaps there's a title change on a SmackDown or a Raw. Who knows? That'd be something. I would love that.
Okay. Somehow just came to me. It's a good story. Randy somehow beats Drew.
Yeah, I was just thinking that too.
For the title to main event Night 1 with Cody. And if Punk don't turn heel in Night 2, Cody turns heel in Night 1, or Randy turns heel on Cody on Night 1, because they haven't done that since Cody's been back.
I would love that. See, that's a better pay-per-view.
It's a good story.
You know, they are part of the legacy together. They've got that, you know, they've got that whole generation of, you know, their dads were both big wrestlers. I don't think that we view Randy as a heel or a face. We never know. He acts like a heel. He acts like a face. The crowd is major over for him. And they've been like that since he's been back. I mean, it's true. And then you've got, he's generational. What I said this before to both of you. Randy Orton is like basically my guy. When I was in university, he was the legend killer. I loved his look. The fact that he's still around in 2026, and then I think about my kids, my little guy, his favorite wrestler for at least 5 years was Randy Orton. So he's got that ability to cross over, and there's not many like that anymore. Now that Cena's gone, and he's one of the last from that Cena era. So if he faces Cody, and he, you know, it could be 50-50 either way, they could say, hey, make Cody look like a face, or hey, make Cody look like a heel. That's very good booking.
But I think you're going to get it at Chamber. I think you're going to get that. There's going to be something between Cody and Randy in the
Good.
I almost guarantee it. It's just how we get there. Do you do the turn fully at the Chamber? Maybe have Randy just go over and punt him?
Great.
And that maybe sets up, maybe you get Cody out the way and then you do Cody and Randy at WrestleMania. Right?
But to me, it's a better
I think
marquee.
that's probably the better way to go. But then it's like you have Drew against Fatu or Drew against...
I have friends who love Drew as well.
I do too.
And I just don't get him.
You don't get him?
No. He never did it for me. You know, but that's just a personal opinion. Like he's just one of those guys that I watch and just not a fan of his. And he's probably not a fan of mine, and that's okay too.
Where do you think wrestling, because we have years of wrestling, where do you think wrestling lost it with the general population? I know this sounds like a trick question, but it's not. But where do you think wrestling was lost by the original connoisseurs?
Has ups and downs, right? And I was going to go into this earlier, but when one company is down, one is up. Example, when WWE was down, WCW was up. When WCW went down, WWE went up. When WWE was sucking, AEW came along and creatively and with figures was doing really, really well. Then they had the whole thing with Punk and then Cody leaving. Then creatively and viewers and tickets for AEW went down. And lo and behold, WWE, the Bloodline, The Rock come back, went up again. So it's almost like if there's two big companies, one of them has to go down for one of them to go up. if we go back, I don't know, to the golden era, right, which was what, 84 to 89, 1990, huge, Hulk Hogan running the roost. People got sick of Hulk Hogan. 90s came along. Hogan sensed this, went to make movies. And then wrestling went into the desert for like 5 years. WWE, the stories were they were making so little money, they were taking out the water fountains in the old Titan Tower. WCW was WCW, it was incompetent. Then suddenly Nitro comes to compete with Raw. We have the Attitude Era, Monday Night Raws, tremendous. And then WWE goes PG. Vince buys the competition. He buys WCW, he buys ECW. He's now won. He's now Thanos. He now has all of the diamonds out of there, all of the jewels. There's no competition. WWE now sucks for another 10 years. We have a moment when Punk does the pipe bomb, which was great, but then they drop the ball on that. Continues to suck. Until recently, to be honest, and we have the whole thing with the bloodline taken off, with Roman taken off, and with The Rock. So I think they're going to run out of ways to wring money out of people. They're already discounting WrestleMania. They were 25% down ticket sales to where they were last year. The only way is down, unfortunately, for WWE now. And AEW is going up.
Yeah.
A little bit with figures, a little bit with ticket sales. Yeah. With matches, they always had it for matches, but AEW is on the rise again creatively and a little bit financially, and WWE is going down. But WWE is going to run out of ways. That balloon is going to burst. They're still going to make a lot of money, but it's going to burst real bloody soon.
Yeah. My take's very similar, but very different. I feel that they lost us in the mid-2010s, and it's like our era of anybody who's 30 plus that still consumed wrestling. And I think that in the 2010s, it was as it was in the 80s and 90s of, oh, you watch wrestling. Oh, it's, you're a wrestling fan. Like there was still that taboo around it. But recently it became cool to talk about wrestling, much like it did in the late 90s, early 2000s during the Attitude Era. Because it became mainstream. Like wrestling, I believe, in my truthful opinion, wrestling has never been more mainstream. You see more celebrities wearing wrestling t-shirts. It is more common to know who they are. And you can thank The Rock and you can thank many other people that are crossing over. And you have Bad Bunny and Jelly Roll that are mega stars that are now taking bumps. That's great. But I think the change also, so my take on this is, anybody who's 30 plus that loves the new podcasts that are out there, like a Jim Cornette podcast, like a Bruce Pitchard podcast, or consume any type of podcast outside of what the WWE puts out there from Fanatics. I mean, like somebody who's in the game that's now out of the game, and you could count Russo or Shivani's or Jeff Jarrett. We are now consuming what we loved, and we're seeing a different angle of what we loved. They'll look at old pay-per-views, they'll look at old matches, they'll look at what things were like inside of the WWE offices or what it was like to build TNA. We're rehashing things that we loved. And I think that's where wrestling has changed. So we don't no longer have to watch what's new. We can rehash what was old, what we loved, and just revisit it again from the people who created it. And I think that it's hard. And that's why you see WWE getting into the unreal, like, oh, you love the podcast, we'll show you what's going on now. But what we're figuring out, as whether we're smart marks or just big fans, unreal is just another scripted part of what it is. So I think it's where they lost us.
And I love that. I love both of the takes. I'm going to go Attitude Era, the Generation X, NWO. I feel like that was in our high school time.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone was walking around. Everyone loved wrestling. You were recapping it on the playground and things like that. And I feel like once you added too many factions in the modern era, that's where folks got probably like, okay, I'm like, where do I go here? I got NWO pink, yellow, and purple over here. And then I got DX adding all these folks. And I feel like you got to go with an original faction. Has to be 3 people, my personal opinion. So when you had Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and Hogan, that was monumental. And you sprinkle Eric Bischoff. DX when it was Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Chyna.
Yep.
Yeah, you added X-Pac,
Yeah.
and Road Dogg, and Badass Billy Gunn. But I feel like that's where the separation for me started.
Really?
Right?
That far
Yeah,
back?
man.
So for
Because
me,
that's not too far back, really.
it's not that too far
Because
back.
WWE brought in NWO, what, 2002 at No Way Out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
In my head, I always thought NWO was going to be another organization that would swallow up WCW, and then they would just run this NWO league of bad guys. And then, through time, WCW would come back and they would almost run two separate leagues, which was the idea for Thunder, amongst some of the other things that they had done. Brilliant idea. But what got me onto something very similar to that is when, as you mentioned, when WWE started buying their competition, they had such an opportunity to change the look and run an ECW and run a WCW and run these different leagues completely separate. And they're sort of doing that now with how they're doing AAA and how they've got Evolve, and they look separate. They are separate, but they didn't do it back then.
Yeah, if they'd done it back then, it would have been something else. Imagine if there was still a WCW that was completely separate, but once a year, like they tried to do with bragging rights, which sucked. Raw against SmackDown, but then the Raw and SmackDown guys cross over multiple times. But you had WCW, and you had ECW, and you had WWE, and one time every year, WrestleMania, they would interact. But the rest of the time, they stayed apart. Maybe even that's too much. Maybe once every couple of years, it becomes the Super Bowl of wrestling.
Yeah.
But Vince, the ego,
Yeah.
or whenever you're the company that absorbs the other company, the ego, you have to put your own guys over the guys you've acquired, which never works. When New Japan bought UWFI, they put with the Nobuhiro Takada, they put him over. They put those guys over, which became huge, which eventually became Pride. When WCW created the NWO killed WCW. This is why it worked. The new guys or the new faction, the new company you've acquired, and WWE did it a little bit with the ECW, WCW. They started putting these guys over, but then within 6 months, an angle that should have been alive for a minimum of 2 years was dead. The new guys or the new company you acquire, you need to put them over your superstars. So everyone's like, holy S word, these are the guys.
Yeah. For me, it just goes back to booking. There was original booking, and now we have unoriginal booking. They could do something very similar. I mean, hey, they could have had a whole bloodline continue. They could have had the bloodline continue, and it would still be just as strong.
It was the best time of TV.
Right.
It was the best time of TV, especially what they did with Sammy. They got Sammy over.
So
to
over.
now where Sammy's kind of like, we don't know where Sammy is.
Right.
Sammy, you brought Sammy into a rich bloodline. Like when I saw that family tree and I zoomed it in, I was like, oh my God, there's so many folks that we've seen. Like,
right.
I didn't even know this.
Even
this
through
crazy,
injuries.
right? This is gonna sound crazy. I didn't even know Yokozuna was even freaking Samoan.
Come on.
Did not know that.
Really?
Didn't know that at all.
Wow.
So when I saw that, I was like, what the entire hell?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's what I love is even through injuries, they were able to separate the bloodline, put them on different shows. They built up Solo. We're Solo. Like he is a star. But Barry. Right?
It's done
Barry.
now. It's done
right.
now.
So back to my original point, the creative, booking NXT in the mid to late 2010s to early 2020s with already created independent stars when they got the Undisputed Era and they got Kevin Owens and they got Sami Zayn. All those guys were at one point great independent wrestlers, and I'm probably missing so many more. But the best thing you've developed is Charlotte Flair. Okay, well, she's got the Flair name. I want to see somebody that gets over like a Goldberg for whatever Goldberg is, or like a Hogan for whatever Hogan was. Or Austin, but there hasn't been that star that Triple H has just created all the way up. And Bronson Reed could be it. Braun Breaker could be it. I think that they're sitting on a gold mine with Logan Paul right now. I think that guy.
Here you go.
Yeah, I think that they could. I think that they can really make a lot of money with him. I don't like him personally, but people know who he is.
Before you go, let me throw this one out here. Do we see Logan Paul maybe Money in the Bank?
That would be amazing.
Is that a play?
That's great.
Yeah, he'd be great with that case, teasing people the whole year.
Yeah. But does he successfully cash in is the question.
Oh, if he does, it'd be like Seth did. You know, when you see a big match and they're both just drawn out, they just gave it their all, a 25-minute banger. And then out of nowhere, just as the screen's about to go black and everybody thinks that the pay-per-view's over, there comes his music, and he comes with a
pushes him over.
Like, he's just that kind of the gimmick.
It pushes him
he's
over
a dick.
Do you know what they should do with Money in the Bank? He should win it. And you know they're always shoving it down our throat. They're carrying the case everywhere. He could cash it in. He could cash it in. He doesn't cash it in. He wins it. You never mention it again on TV. You make us forget 6 months, 9 months, 10 months. You don't even sell the gimmick. And when we've all forgot, what was it? The best illusion that the devil ever did was making us believe he didn't exist anymore. Then at WrestleMania, when we've completely forgot, because they only sold us on one night Money in the Bank and they never talked about it again, then he cashes it in. Imagine the heel heat.
But it's going to be about who he cashes in on, because I think if you're going to have Logan get it and you want Logan to go over to be like the crowd favorite like a Seth Rollins, because I remember Levi Stadium, I was in the movie theater Cineplex watching that, and this is when I didn't care for Roman, Brock was whatever. And when Rollins ran, like, I'll give Rollins props. When he broke that corner and ran, I was like, damn.
It's smart.
High speed, slides through the rope, curb stomp, 1, 2, 3.
And who booked that? Who booked that? Vince booked it.
Well, I don't know if you guys are caught up to date here. Side note, Rollins was on Shannon Sharp's podcast talking about that.
Okay.
I'm like halfway in between.
Okay.
I would say to y'all, check that out. It's a good conversation.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny because I like Seth, and then Seth got away from me.
Yeah.
But when you watch that, and you're like, okay, Seth is, you have to have the right person to talk with these guys. And I think it was a good job well done.
He's a great interviewer too.
Yeah, for sure. Going back to that, the where did wrestling have its lull? Do you think they should have split and have it Raw and SmackDown? Because from my personal opinion, it should all be one. You have 5 hours of TV a week.
Yeah.
5 hours of TV. You don't need to have all these major titles. You could have one major championship and just have everyone going from it. Yeah. And I think you would be able to separate and distinguish who's top main eventers to mid-carders, to have a solid tag team division. Do you not think they should bring it back?
I think you either go all of the way one way. Either it's everyone in the company, it's a free-for-all on every show, universal, or if you do separate the brands, there's no, for one night only, every week, one superstar from Raw can come over to SmackDown. The Raw is maybe once a year, but you stay really, really clean with it.
Mm-hmm. So my take is, if you look at all pro sports, the East always faces the West. We are no longer in the era of baseball having an American League and a National League. So if we are going to have this, just have it all together. Like, people are too smart. So you've got all this talent. You've got 5 hours of television. You can break up their way that they've built. I've never written a script for a TV show. I've just watched it a lot. But throw in more matches. Make them 3 or 4 minutes. Cut the entrance a little bit. Have them in the ring. However they have to do it. But showcase the talent that you have. Keep it all one brand. That's just me. It's just WWE. And if you want to have a secondary brand, you have NXT. That is a separate brand. We know that NXT is a separate brand until it's not, right?
Or you put NXT and TNA into one pot and let it build there, because WWE owns the rights for TNA, does it not?
No, they're a separate entity. They're owned by a Canadian company.
So how are they getting wrestlers to come over is my question.
It's a partnership.
It's a partnership.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a partnership.
Sense.
Anthem Sports Entertainment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I was under the impression, right?
Well, that's the perfect illusion. That's the forbidden door. So do you think that they're aligned? Do you think that maybe they're owned, but they're not? It's just like AEW now is doing something with CMLL. It gives the impression that maybe they're owned, but Tony Khan was just in the ring presenting the championship for CMLL. It looked really good. Mm-hmm. So that's the forbidden door, but it looks good. And what did it do? It built up TNA. So now it gives that illusion that, you see Trick on both television shows. You can see the Hardys on both television shows, but it also made somebody like Joe Henry, who was a great star, build himself up to become a WWE superstar. Now he's in NXT.
You have one world champion, Remember back when I got into wrestling in WrestleMania 5, 1989, you had one world champion. The next guy was the IC champion. So you have one world champion in WWE for all of the brands. But then you have the TV champion, which is the world champion for NXT. You have if you break down SmackDown and Raw, you have the world champion who can go anywhere. The world tag team champions that can go anywhere. Female world champion can go anywhere. But then every other company has their IC version, which is their world champion. But like the NWA, you have one major guy, major tag team, major female there.
And if you really look at it, right, what we're speaking, it makes a lot of sense because, okay, you have CM Punk and Drew as your world champions.
Too many.
Right?
Yeah.
You could have just put Drew or CM Punk. If you really look between both shows, total amount together, you have 8 guys going for that major title. Because that's really how the title picture is right now.
It's too much. I loved it when there was just one champion. Yeah. Like there's only one team that can get the ring at the end of the year.
That's all you need.
So having one champion that's mega over, great. And it could be somebody different. We could have a surprise. You know, you could have a build of a trick. You know, he's won his last 8 matches and keep it like a real sport. And then, you know, he's up against Drew and, you know, Drew had a big match last week and you can build it up however you want creatively. And then he just gets the roll-up victory and you have like an underdog story. And maybe
the stories keep going.
Right. And I remember just being younger where you had, for me, Arn Anderson was the best TV champion. Every week you just knew that guy was going to defend his title. Maybe I'm wrong on that. And I remember Ricky Steamboat had it at some points, but he was a TV champion, which was their version of the Intercontinental Championships. And then you got the next best guy. So when Shawn Michaels had it, or Razor Ramon had it, although he didn't win the title, or Bret Hart had it, you had major faces or heels over, but they were your legitimate number 2 guy. So they were always the co-main event. And now it's just too watered down. You have the Cruiserweight, you just have too many titles. AEW, and I'm a big fan of AEW, they have too many titles. So
and their matches, their pay-per-views are way too long.
Yeah, but see, I like that.
You like a 6-hour pay-per-view?
I do, because you get your money's worth. So I've gone to their shows in Toronto, and I left going, wow, that was an amazing.
It's great wrestling.
Great wrestling.
Great wrestling.
Great show.
Yes.
You get your money's worth.
When you can get burnt out at the end, though.
You can. The opposite of that is you go to a Saturday night's main event show and you get 4 matches for 2 hours.
Commercials.
Right. So I would rather go to an 8-hour or 7-hour AEW event and see so many matches and be like just totally pleased and keep the chair than anywhere else. Then go to a WWE show and you get 4 matches.
But if every match is great all the time, is any match really great? AEW, great matches from pillar to the end, right?
Yeah.
Beginning to the end. But if everything's great, is anything great?
I don't disagree. I mean, they have phenomenal matches, but it's actually hard to go, wow, 4 hours ago, do you remember that match? I mean, it's a lot, but I am a wrestling fan, so I consume it. We've gone to AEW shows and we've enjoyed it. I love to go. And I just feel like that goes back to something else I'd said. It's like you missed those house shows where you can go there for 4 hours and you can see everybody, and they can also try new things. And I feel like they're just missing out on that right now.
All right, one world title, and it's only defended on a PLE. Maybe it does some house shows, but it's never on TV. The world champion can come do interviews, but the IC title or the US title, whatever the brand, is their version of the world title that we don't call the world title. We make it very clear. This is the US title, this is the IC title, but this is our version of the world. You can put that on TV every week if you want, but like Lou Fez and the NWA title, you have to pay for it. You're paying for this.
It's funny you say that, because if you look at all the times the world titles ever defended on Raw or SmackDown, was very rare. It was a rare occasion. Right.
Special.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like you have the 4 major, you have Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam.
Survivor Series.
And Survivor Series. Survivor Series I don't even think is a major now anymore, because you have to go back to that traditional like 4-on-4 or 5-on-5.
Right.
You got to go to that. And they're like missing the ball. I get it. You do War Games and this, but there's no color. Like I remember watching War Games back in the day, and War Games had all color.
Different company.
Right? And when we say color, we mean blood. And you don't see it. You don't see it, right? AEW gives you a little bit of color.
Oh, all the time.
You know what I mean?
They are the variety. They are hardcore, lucha, American style. What's that other one from like the Shinsuke? Hard,
Strong style.
Strong style.
Yeah.
You get it. Thank you. You get it all. You get it all with AEW. So that's why, like, if you're an eclectic wrestling fan, you enjoy them all. That's what you can get. But I don't disagree with Luke. You know, when you try to legitimize what WWE is or AEW, think of what the UFC is doing. They will never put a title fight on a fight night at the Apex. They will never do it.
Depending on what title it is.
Right.
There's a potential.
Like a lighter.
Potential.
It's potential.
Yeah.
But again, they'll still put it as a co-main event on a pay-per-view.